Hello and welcome to this special coverage where we're talking about the public sector banks and the bet on the budget on them. I want to first play out what Dr. Rajan had to say about the asset quality which is haunting banks across the board.
Yet the recent decline in bank share prices has investors on the edge. Of course, part of the reason is that markets are in turmoil. Some of the greater decline of bank share prices can therefore be explained by the fact that they're seen as a leverage play on the economy. For the loans that are of concern, the banks are attempting to regularize the loans that can be put back on track and are classifying those that cannot for deeper surgery, so again, they can be put back on track. They are taking provisions in accordance with the degree of stress extent in the loan. So it relates to how much stress there already is in the loan. They will also make provisions for loans that have possible weaknesses going forward. Our intent is to have clean and fully provisioned bank balance sheets by March 2017.
Coming out in support of PSU banks and saying if more capital is needed, it will be provided was none other than Minister of State for Finance, Jayant Sinha.
We are undertaking all the measures necessary to support our banks. That means both in terms of capital as well as in terms of policy measures that are required to support our banks. We have taken steps to reduce the stress and provide relief for many different industries. And at the same time, we have strengthened the mechanisms by which the banks themselves go through the resolution of many of these bad loan situations. So I'll tell all investors that this is good news, not bad news, because effectively what it means is that we've got the NPA problem well in hand.
The NPA problem may be well in hand, but bank stocks are taking a tumble for the worst. Look at what's happened in just the last 6 weeks of this brand new year. You've got the Bank Nifty tumbling as much as 18%, led by none other than PNB. No surprises there. It's been probably one of the most bearish calls on the market is on that stock right now. PNB down a whopping 38% almost. Surprisingly, SBI takes the second mantle on that one. That's where the concerns start to come in. This is India's largest bank overall. The split between the private and the public sector is quite evident, with Yes Bank only falling 3% in the same period, outperforming the index substantially, and HDFC Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank as well holding on at least and not really slumping into the red as much as the other PSU banks. The only private sector bank where there seems to be question marks on asset quality at this point is ICICI Bank, which is down nearly 27% in the year so far, and that's where the problem points start to emerge. Are these banks showing up great valuations at this time, or is it going to be a value trap? Are you willing to take on more risk, or would you stay away from the sector? Vaibhav Agarwal, Vice President of at Banking Research at Angel Broking, joins me now. Vaibhav, it's been a very hectic week for you, I imagine. Extremely late evenings as you pour onto con calls, go through those P&Ls which have been bleeding across the board. Is this just skeletons coming out of the closet with the AQR, the asset quality review? Is it going to be a 2-quarter pain? Take us through what's really happening with banking right now.
Yeah, clearly for most of the banks, maybe with the exception of, let's say, an Axis or a Yes Bank, have indicated that they are going to take, 2 quarters to really recognize the AQR pain, indicating more or less a 50-50 kind of a division. So, yeah, I mean, a similar kind of stress for, the PSU banks can actually be seen in the fourth quarter as well. But I think, yeah, by fourth quarter, a large quantum, of the bad loans would at least be recognized. So, we've already seen a huge amount of exponential increase already. But, this run rate is not likely to sustain, the quarterly run rate of slippage, what we have seen in 3Q.
But
it's not expected to sustain beyond the fourth quarter.
But why is recognition such? I mean, I agree with the fact that the books are not as opaque anymore and you know the number. But even at 8%, 10%, 12% NPA levels, okay, you've recognized them. But is that giving you any solace for these banks? This is the financial system backbone at this stage.
Well, exactly. So, recognition is the first step. The second is obviously the provisioning for it.
Yeah.
As a simple measure, even SBI, which is the better one amongst the lot for the PSU banks, the total stressed assets, if you add up the net NPAs, the standard restructured and the SDR 525, etc., is about 1.3 lakh crores, and that is 3 times the annual pre-provisioning profit. So it could take 3 years to provide from the PNL. Even if we assume that only 50% of this is an actual loss, that's a still huge quantum that has to be provided for. So clearly indicating that there is a need for far more capital infusion required for PSU banks.
At this point, Vaibhav, there's no way recovery can happen, because at the other end you've got SDRs which will stay standard on your book for 18 months. But the point is, if these particular companies could have found buyers, they would have done it. The banks are going to have no exception. So unless the economy turns around, which people are not anticipating over the next 6 months at least, these NPAs are going to stay exactly where they are and will probably revive with a lag. When do you really see the turnaround happening?
So, that's why I think it makes sense to look at it as the overall stressed assets. Even in the past credit cycles, we've seen that obviously an NPA is anyways, an even more sort of stressed asset than, let's say, an SDR or a restructuring. And within NPA also, banks typically tend to face about 50 to 60% actual loss. So, yeah, I mean, the entire amount, which is a huge amount of stressed assets, if we take a 50 to 60% loss on that, then, like I said, that's a huge amount that needs to be provided for, which is where, it would take, 4 to 6 quarters. For SBI itself, it's 6 quarters worth of pre-provisioning profits that would be required, also indicating the need for, far more capital infusion.
Is it getting priced in, Vaibhav, or do you think the stocks are not pricing that in? Like you're saying, SBI has said next quarter will also look this bad. Provisions are going to go up just as much. Fresh slippage also might be the same amount of 20,000 odd crores. Has the stock started pricing in, or do you think that also has not happened yet?
Well, in our view, the whole point is that the quantum of these stressed assets, the quantum of recognition that can happen in fourth quarter, I mean, these are exponential to the size of their PNL and balance sheet. So with that kind of numbers, I may say 50 to 60% credit loss as a statistical measure, but there is uncertainty involved around that. And with this kind of a risk off anyways in the overall market scenario, we don't think anyone would be, looking to take risk in PSU banks as of yet. I mean, we would remain cautious.
How do you explain this to someone who's watching the screen and looking at those NPA numbers of 36,000 crores, 34,000 crores for PNB, double of its market cap? Would you even look at book value at this stage, or say that's a value trap right now?
Exactly. I mean, like you said, this would at this point still be considered a value trap, because these are very large numbers that we are talking about, and once you start adjusting them, and if we have, one needs so the basic concept of investing, you need a margin of safety. I mean, what if instead of 50% loss, you end up with 70% loss on these assets? I mean, that straight away changes your entire calculation of price to book very drastically. So it does not really make sense to, just go with a certain adjusted book value number and take that to assume that, okay, these are trading cheap right now. I think till the overall story does not change, the visibility of revival is not there in terms of, fresh lending cycle beginning again. I don't think it's the right time yet to enter into these stocks.
I spoke to 4 bankers yesterday. I posed the same question to every one of them. What's happening to Uday? It made great headlines for power companies. It made great headlines for discoms across the board. There's no clarity on how they're going to convert these loans. There's no clarity on how they'll have to provide for them. We're sitting at mid-February. They've got 45 days to do this conversion. How worried are you about Uday?
I think, somewhere I think the central government needs to also, take a call. I mean, I've also heard that possibly at some point they may also need to chip in, and whether the state governments alone and whether those bonds would be treated as SLR or not. So there are uncertainties clearly, on this whole, conversion thing. So we have to wait and watch. But the only difference, at least versus, let's say, a steel, bad asset, that in the power sector, it's a domestic industry. So slowly a revival can happen. But yeah, I mean, as far as these SEB loans, again, I think it has to be a mix of state and central government also may, probably ultimately need to contribute something.
We're waiting out for the big golden hand from the government at this point. That's the word coming from Vaibhav. We'll take a short break. We'll talk about PSU Bank. Who needs the money the most? What are you watching out for? More on the other side with Vaibhav Agarwal. Welcome back to this special conversation on the budget bet. As we moved into the budget, big recapitalization will be required for PSU banks. Jayant Sinha says they're willing to hold it out and give whatever is required. Vaibhav, who needs the money the most?
Well, I think, the government would likely prioritize the bigger banks first. They are systemically very important. That is the first thing. And secondly, they are the ones in the position to really start, the revival and fresh lending as well. I think many of these smaller banks, ironically, the stress is also much more than, let's say, the bigger bank like SBI or BOB, as well as, at the same time, their price to book values, etc., are very low. And for them, the challenge of reviving, and whether the money given to them would be just ended up, used to get, cleaning up their balance sheets, and whether they can really do fresh lending is a little difficult. So I think priority would be for the larger banks. Already SBI and banks like SBI, BOB do have good capital adequacy, but the government is likely to give them more so that they can clean up these loans, provide for them, and start fresh lending.
I want to talk about IDBI at this point, Vaibhav, because it is such a poster child. The government tried to position it as like this poster child of hope for the PSU bank sector, of strategic sale, etc. Look what's happened to the stock on a year-to-date basis, and now there are big murmurs across the board that there is huge asset quality concern there as well. What's your current call at Angel on IDBI, and how would you be looking at this stock? Is it really the poster child of strategic sale?
No, we actually don't have an official rating, but anyways, around this overall event, we've said that it's a speculative, it's a binary event, and speculating on it prior to it actually happening would not be a good call. And that's what it's happened. The stock is corrected very significantly from the highs that it made.
We're at the day's lowest point as we speak. Let's pull up the Nifty right now, and that turns to be the headline at this point. 6910, 6908 has been reached on the Nifty on an intraday basis. We're off a good 100 points, 120 points from the day's highest point, edging closer and closer towards that 6900 mark. The biggest pressure point coming in right now. BHEL is down a whopping 11% in trade right now. The stocks expectedly were down are from the metal stocks as well as the PSU bank stocks that we were just talking about. Pull up IT for a second, because that's where the support has also been being lost out now. And so Infosys at the day's lowest point coming in. The crack is not very sharp, but you see the pressure coming. These are heavily weighted stocks on the index. So Infosys as well as TCS coming in. So when there was no support from the banking, even the technology pack now cracking in trade. HCL Tech as well. Let's pull that one up and see. So they don't make it to the top losers in the Nifty right now, but one of the drags coming in now. There you go. Big cracks coming in there. I want to talk about ICICI Bank, Vaibhav. Firstly, what's your official call on it? Because the concerns on the corporate book there are quite immense. Because you're talking about large infrastructure, accounts that everybody's been trying to write off for the last 2 years, and remains, standard on their books. They're saying there are no problems. But with the new AQR, the kind of disclosure that would have to be made, is that book going, especially the corporate book, going to be under severe stress?
Well, clearly there has been stress in that book, but they have, recognized the problems as well. And with the fourth quarter, I think, now in light of the the PSU bank results, clearly the quantum is not as big over here, and the ability to absorb that through their PNL and capital is much more, because their capital adequacy is also much better. And lastly, if you look at the overall composition of their book as well, obviously there is a big chunk of international and retail, etc. So the overall book is also less than half of what typically PSU banks have. So in that sense, their ability to absorb this post the AQR and then move ahead, in the next year with growth, I think with retail driven growth is clearly there. While at the same time, the stock is obviously corrected very drastically. So within corporate lenders, rather than going for the PSU banks bottom fishing right now, I think banks like Axis and ICICI would be relatively better bets. I think there the correction is indeed quite high. But maybe in the near term they may still underperform, being high beta stocks.
Why Axis? Why Axis? I asked that question because if I rewind to about 1.5 years ago, the largest concern was on Axis. The fact that they are probably underreporting NPAs at this point. They had that one sale to ARC last quarter. They learned a lesson about disclosures there. They were extremely open this time around. But what's keeping you so positive on Axis Bank?
I'm sorry. So Axis Bank as well, we do have a buy.
Okay.
I mean, it's so so like I was saying. With Axis Bank, in fact, this whole sort of worry about their NPAs has always been somehow, ironically, over the last 5 years, we've seen this more than, they've always done better than what the concerns have been around their book. And I think after the disclosures that have happened in this quarter as well, I think there would be a reasonable degree of comfort as regards the lending standards, etc. And ultimately the retail franchise over there is also very strong. Capital adequacy is very strong, and earnings visibility is also there if you take a 2 to 3 year perspective. So yeah, I mean, within the corporate lenders, like I was saying, Axis and ICICI would be the ones where if we do have to bottom fish in this market in the BFSI space on the corporate side as well, these are the ones we would prefer rather than looking at the PSU space.
Vaibhav, are you going to start now factoring in, and this is a lesson learned in 2008, nowhere am I suggesting that we're back at those problems right now, but the European banks are going through tremendous trouble. So there's a financial system that is again under a lot of strain. Any big banks, which is a big bank, which is Deutsche, coming out to reassure investors is definitely not good news. We have seen in the past big private banks having exposure in Europe, feeling the strain as that financial system goes under trouble as well. Is there another risk from that angle?
Yeah, I think, globally, these are difficult times. I mean, the larger questions which, especially Dr. Rajan himself has raised, whether this, whole system of sort of, relying on monetary policy easing is now sort of playing out, has run its course. We've seen every country getting into competitive devaluation that has created instability in the system. So now I think, but with the US Federal Reserve sort of reversing that, we will slowly start seeing a reversal of this trend. But clearly, in the near term, there is a lot of adjustment globally that needs to happen. There is oversupply, obviously, around the world, and global growth itself is, a concern. So yeah, I mean, in the near term, clearly, it's the global concerns as well, which are quite high, which would, I think, continue to weigh on the markets.
But in specific exposure that banks have through their overseas subsidiary, I asked that question particularly because it's taking me back to the time of Lehman, and I know we're not there right now, but taking back to the time of Lehman where we didn't see the contagion effect, and we had an ICICI bank book which went under complete stress because of the exposure that they had in the overseas financial system market.
So yeah, I think, specifically addressing that angle, what has happened post that Lehman experience, the Indian banks which have large international books have made it a very India-oriented book, even internationally, because, so they've lent for the needs of Indian corporates abroad, etc. And really their exposure to local assets is almost next to nothing now from what we understand. So I think in that context, post the Lehman learning, I think a repeat of that kind of stress for, let's say, an ICICI bank emerging again is much less than what it was back then. So I think we would not be too concerned about that kind of a risk creating a major shock for the Indian banking system or specific banks like ICICI or SBI, which have large international books.
Lehman learning, I like that phrase. I'm going to pick it up and plagiarize that one from you, Vaibhav. Thank you so much for your time and your candid insight on the banking system right now. Definitely under stress and a lot more to be done from the government. The markets, meanwhile, are going back towards the day's lowest point. 6,900 definitely under threat today. Nobody's ruling that out, being left on the card. 6,931 at this point. On the mid-cap pack, however, there are some deep gashes coming in on Just Dial that now is significantly under issue price. You got 16.5% cut coming in on Just Dial as we speak. Walk-Hard after earnings is getting battered out of shape today, down 16% in trade as well. BHEL after earnings, and no surprises there. There were some optimistic calls coming in ahead of earnings, but no respite there. Jaiprakash Associates, now merely you seeing JP Associates there, it's been battered, and how 6 rupee stock left of JP Associates. This is where the ICICI troubles start to come in as well. So you've got JP Associates down significantly, and trader favorites such as Alok Industries also seeing big hammering in trade. On the upside, there are a few names, but like Team Lease, the new listing as well, that's up 20% in trade. Tata Motors makes it up because of its earnings, a good 4% up, and Mahindra & Mahindra holding on to gains 1.5% ahead of earnings today. So watch out for that stock. But that's a complete wrap on this edition. Thank you so much for watching. Market Pulse picks up all the action.